but Tony's right. Let's move on. How about this?
I want to ask this before this one right here about the CMC. How about this? As you guys are talking about, we can quibble over how if you want Sean Payton or not. Let's just quibble about this. The exact picks. Would you basically have traded CMC for Sean Payton? We traded Christian McCaffrey to the 49ers. We got a 2023 second, a 2023 third, a 2023 fourth, and a 2024 fifth. If the Saints were willing to take this deal right here, would you do it straight up?
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Dude,
me too.
In a heartbeat. Dude, in a fucking heartbeat. When you have a coach like that,
I agree.
When you have a coach like that, that opens up what you're able to do as a football team.
No,
I mean,
no.
Honestly,
Where's
I'm
my
not
buzzer?
saying,
You know what I see this is like, would you trade Tommy Tremble? Like, think about what our second round pick. Would you trade Terrace Marshall Jr., Tommy Tremble, and like, you know what I'm saying? These bums for Sean Payton. Yes.
Nope.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
You guys are crazy,
this is what you're thinking. You're right.
How are Cody and I actually agreeing?
You know Tommy Tremble the way he is now. But let me ask you this. Do you really want to give an in-division rival, Christian McCaffrey, the running back they have now, what's his name?
Kamara.
The one who's compared to Christian McCaffrey, not as good?
Alvin Kamara.
Alvin Kamara and Taysom Hill. To get a coach who can tell the players to play better and make them follow him, but not make them execute in the end.
Oversimplifying that so badly.
Execute. Would you really trade those three players to that team for a coach to coach Sam Darnold?
Drastically underestimating what a coach does.
We got to talk about my son's comment. This actually, I do think this is the red flag. If there's a red flag, first, I will not put any of the financial shit on Payton because that's just all the voodoo magic of the Saints and all that. They were doing that the whole time. They were all in collusion there. But there is a question. This is why the fuck why did he just leave the Saints entirely?
Because he didn't have a Hall of Fame quarterback like Drew Brees. Period.
That's
it's super easy.
That's a good man.
And I guarantee you he won't go to a team unless they have a stacked lineup and a Hall of Fame quarterback with them. And that right there proves it.
Come on,
he couldn't
he already had success with New Orleans.
You can't handle the truth.
Why is it outside the realm of possibility that maybe Payton already won a Super Bowl there? Drew Brees retired, and now he wanted to go and do some other shit, like with another team. I don't blame him for that
because it was the year after he lost Drew Brees for the most part. 1 year after. You're talking about it had been 14 years, almost 12 years when he left that he had been since he had been to a Super Bowl with the Saints. 12 years. And now he lost his best and most impressive. Like when he left, that offense, that entire team looked absolutely abysmal. You looked abysmal. And here's the thing. And that was with guys that he chose to be on his roster, right? And so here's the reality you've got to think about. We can't continue to this is why I'm talking about, like, do you want to give your division rival? You can't, not only do you have to decide whether or not Sean Payton's worth a first-round pick, giving away a first-round pick, now you have to decide, is it worth giving away a first-round pick to a division rival who's that first-round pick is going to go against you for the next 4 or 5 years and potentially be a cornerstone for their offense or their defense or whatever it may be. You are putting yourself in a most unknown situation. I am not prepared to give away assets for a guy who's not been to a Super Bowl in over a decade.
Okay. I hear you. D'Angelo the Legend with the $5 says, thank God Greg and CK don't make decisions for our team. But you know what? They say that about me too. They said that about Tony. I think they say that about everyone who has an opinion about the Panthers. The thing is this, though. Hang on. Shout out to Eric37 with another $5 love bomb. He says, if this was Belichick, would your opinions be the same?
No, they wouldn't be. Or actually, no, I'm sorry. At all. My opinion would be the same because you know what? Belichick shows that without Tom Brady, he's not the elite coach.
So then, Greg, then what?
He's only made by an elite quarterback.
Then, Greg,
that's the wrong argument.
What then what coach would ever be worth it? Like, it goes back to what Tony was saying. If you have a franchise, if you have a franchise quarterback, one, you cannot discredit the guy that's calling the plays for said quarterback, just like you can't discredit Andy Reid for being the orchestrator of that offense with Patrick Mahomes. By the way, never won a Super Bowl without Patrick Mahomes, and everybody doubted Andy Reid once upon a time too.
Right. So here's my thought. Here's my entire point to my statement. Greg's argument, I don't mean to be, is not a good argument to make, because here's the thing: what Bill Belichick has proven is with a Hall of Fame quarterback, you can go to multiple Super Bowls and win multiple Super Bowls and be a good coach, and that's going to be impactful to you. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. You have a Hall of Fame Super Bowl or Hall of Fame quarterback with Drew Brees. You have a Hall of Fame quarterback with Tom Brady. One coach went to Super Bowls how many times? The other coach went to Super Bowls how many times? It's such an incredible difference, and it's not even that much of a difference as far as time.
You can argue that no one has ever done what the Patriots have done to the level that they have done. Though.
Let's talk about this. Andy Reid with Pat Mahomes in a shorter amount of time with Pat Mahomes. How many times has Andy Reid been to the Super Bowl since Pat Mahomes been on his roster?
Gosh, I'm so on CK's side tonight. CK, me anybody.
But he's only won one of them. That's the same thing you said about Sean Payton. Sean Payton only won one of them, just like Andy Reid.
He's only been to one. He's only been to one Super Bowl. I'm saying they've been to 2 Super Bowls in a short career with Patrick Mahomes. That's my.
How many did he go to with Philadelphia? He only went to one with Philadelphia when he.
That's not my. What was this Hall of Fame quarterback there?
Well, McNabb, good quarterback. Donovan McNabb.
Is he in the Hall of Fame now?
Is McNabb a Hall
of Fame?
You know
what? He was a baller back then. Don't let anybody.
He was okay. He was Hall of Fame. Cam Newton's a baller. Is he Hall of Fame?
Let's move. We got to move.
Yeah.
So this
since we're gonna keep arguing about the same fucking thing right here, let's go.
Yeah, I mean, look. So this has been a topic of conversation on Twitter. Everybody's been talking about this, been comparing Sean Payton to Mike McCarthy because they have very similar resumes. Mike McCarthy, when he was with the Packers, they went to the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers and they won one. And a lot of people say, well, McCarthy was only good because he had Aaron Rodgers. Pretty much everything that Greg K have just said about Sean Payton is also true for Mike McCarthy, who is in the playoffs right now to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So
didn't rough team yet. So
my question is, who would you prefer? Do you believe that this is a good comparison between these two? I'm going to say no, because Mike McCarthy doesn't, at least to my knowledge, doesn't call plays. And Aaron Rodgers was trying to get the fuck away from Mike McCarthy. He didn't want Mike McCarthy to be a coach
used
anymore.
To play call plays in Green Bay.
Right, but then he stopped, and because his play calling was so terrible. That never happened, dude. With Sean Payton, I guarantee you, Drew Brees was never looking to get away from Sean Payton.
Look, I was just kind of downing Sean Payton, and I don't want to say downing Sean Payton, but not so much. I really just didn't want him as my guy. I'm not saying he's a bad guy, but I will take Sean Payton.
Well, I would have taken
1,000 times over before I get McCarthy. McCarthy is 100% the product of the teams he has. He inherited Dallas, who was the exact same team last year they are this year that he took over for. He inherited that team. He inherited Aaron Rodgers and only won one Super Bowl with one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game. So,
you know what? I would fire both of these bums. Only one Super Bowl. Fire both of these bums.
I'm with you, Tony. It's so. I think that CK and Greg are underestimating how hard it is to win in the NFL. And
how many Super Bowls does Tony Dungy?
Even if you have a franchise quarterback and a head coach that can do all the right things, it never is a guarantee that you're going to be able to go back and win the Super Bowl.
Right.
How many Super Bowls does Peyton Manning have? Peyton Manning was
3, I think, right?
Oh, well, two. One with the Colts and one with the Broncos.
He had been to 2, I think, or
and
maybe
I
3.
promise you better not count that. If you ever come on this podcast again and count that Denver Super Bowl for him, you'll be kicked off, CK.
No, I'm not counting that. I mean, he did win. I mean,
remember
he won a Super
who
Bowl,
they
to be
beat?
Fair. I'll trust me. I understand. I understand why you're saying
we ain't
that.
ever talking about that again.
I understand.
But what
why
I'm saying is this: is Peyton Manning won 1 Super Bowl.
He won 2.
And I will.
He's been to how many though?
He actually won.
How many times has he been?
That's what I'm saying.
Altogether?
But I would say Peyton Manning. I know Peyton Manning was head and shoulders a better quarterback than Drew Brees.
I don't know if you could say head and shoulders.
Oh yeah, significantly better.
Peyton
would indicate
Drew Brees,
otherwise.
Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers are the best 4 quarterbacks of the last 20 years, hands down.
Okay.
Period. No questions.
All right. I wanted to look. All I got. I don't give a fuck. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it like that. I was talking about. I don't give a fuck about Mike McCarthy.
Right.
This guy is not even the same spectrum. Right? Is Mike McCarthy, and just because Dallas beat Tampa Bay last night or whatever, let's not act like he's there yet.
No, he's not.
Right. Is that if he would have lost? Actually, the funny part about this, if Dallas would have lost last night, guess who would be the coach of the Dallas Cowboys next year?
Sean Payton.
Yes.
Fucking
he might still be. Honestly, he might still be. Because does anybody truly believe that Mike McCarthy is the architect of success there? No, not at all. He's just but you know what? At the same time, we probably shouldn't diss on him too much because he has been a successful head coach. That's what the thing is. But Sean Payton might be the coach of the Dallas Cowboys next year. Arguably, he might be the fucking coach of the Los Angeles Chargers. He can be the coach of anybody, bro.
Hey, how
there is a reason why he's such a hot name right now. Everybody wants to interview him.
If you don't think that it's going to cost more for the Panthers to get him, that's where you guys need to take into consideration
more than
anybody else that's on the block for him right now.
Well, you know what? Are you just not willing to pay it?
I'm not willing to pay. I'm not willing to pay. I'm not willing to give away a first-round draft pick for a guy that hasn't proven that he's able to do anything without a
How many years did the Saints give away a first-round draft pick and actually be successful? A lot.
Look,
how many you got? How many you got? I got a lot. The Saints give away first-round picks, no problem. They were winning all those times. My
question is, when's the last time they gave away a first-round pick?
A lot.
When's the last time they did it?
Who? Marcus Davenport.
Okay, what do you think about Marcus Davenport? Do you think he was worth 2 first-round picks?
Well, it was only 1 first.
No, they gave they gave up 2 first rounds for him.
They went to like the playoffs or something like crazy the next year, and he was very good. But yeah, if you have a winning season that year, then who gives a fuck?
Look,
a couple super chats.
Yeah, and then we got to move on. We're going.
White Chocolate Espresso says read only 3 losing seasons, better than Peyton. With the 199. Okay. Nick Montero with the $10 love bomb. He says, "Is it just me, or does it seem like the season won't feel like it's actually over until we know the fate of Steve Wilkes? And Manning is only a forehead better than Drew Brees."
Oh, well done. Well done.
See what you did there. Oh,
done. Well done.
And then White Chocolate Espresso says, which coach quits when it gets hard? Nobody's quitting when it gets hard.
Sean Payton and the boy from the Rams.
Nick Saban quit when it got hard in Miami.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of these fuckers that do that. They, and I understand that is something to be said about like the longevity of something, but like, and we'll get to this later when we get to some of the potential young quarterbacks moving on. But you got to think about the context of their careers too. They only have so much time, right? So maybe Sean Payton saying this is like, I only have so much time, so fuck it. Why do I want to do it with a team that we are not poised? No, you can't say built because he was not the only person involved. They're GM
but you would give them credit if they were successful.
What I'm saying is, but they sold their soul. Like, you know what? I would sell my soul for a Super Bowl.
They were also middle of the pack football team. They weren't even terrible football teams. They were.
Then why didn't Tom Brady stay in the Patriots?
They didn't go to the basement.
I just want you guys to look. I just want to point out the difference, because this is something that I think me and Cody. This is the point we are the furthest on and everything between what's a player's fault and what's a coach's fault. So what I'm going to do for the rest of the show, for every 15 minutes, is I'm going to raise my hand and I'm going to say, hey, okay, that's going to be my coaching stat for y'all. And I want to see all three of y'all say that, okay? And if by chance y'all miss it, then it's got to be y'all's fault, right? But if I'm reminding you every 15 minutes, there's no way it's my fault, right?
Dumb.
So my point is, I can tell you as many times as I want to do this. Ultimately, it's up to you to actually do it.
But you can say that about every coach that there is.
You're right.
They don't matter at all.
Which is why coaching is not the end all be all. Which is why I would not give up first round picks for a coach who has only been successful with a Hall of Fame quarterback.
I think Cody has. I think Cody has taught me into this a little bit over the past couple of years. Is Cody and his stupid, let's trade everything for Trevor Lawrence shit. And we'll talk about that later.
It's worth it.
But I do think this
for what you have your eyes on.
I have watched enough third and fourth round picks be nobodies, and first round picks be nobodies, to say, you know what, maybe they're not as important as we actually make
proven commodity, dude.
Like it's like, oh, well, guess you know what? We got set back with Kelvin Benjamin. We got set back with Vernon Butler. Oh, you're right. We might not have Vernon Butler next year.
Yeah,
no Sean Payton. Fuck that. We don't want a quarterback. We might not have Vernon Butler next year.
Dude, send them the picks and an edible while you're at it, dude.
You gotta go to the catcalls.
You've got to, if you're gonna say that, if you're gonna bring that up as the last point, you have to also take into consideration what if you think that Loomis is the mastermind of the Saints roster.
I didn't say mastermind. I said part of it.
Hold on. They have hit very well on their second and third and fourth round draft picks, like Greg was talking about earlier. So the Vernon Butlers aren't happening on the Saints roster.
Vernon Butler was a first, bro.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. You know who wasn't a first? Marshawn Lattimore. You know who wasn't a first? Alvin Kamara. You know who wasn't a first? Forgot his name.
Marshawn Lattimore was the first.
I can marry you tonight.
Was he? Was he at the end of the? Well, he was at the end of the.
I don't want to hear this.
Either way,
just like all of this, I think there is, and this is where I've actually gotten mad at Cody on this show the last 4 or 5 months this season. Cody has gone to be like, oh, let's win one for the Gipper. Let's try to be about integrity and stuff like this, right? No, like, give me a second. But the idea of these players and them being like so important to the development of like this whole future, like, oh, we're building for the future. I think sometimes there is a fine line between we need to build for the future and we're too scared to fucking go up and ask the girl to go on a date. Yeah. Like, it's like, you know, I mean, there's a fine line. I understand. Both people have right. Both people have good points. Is like, you don't want to be too risky, but sometimes too, you know what Wayne Gretzky said? Every shot taken is a goal not scored. So like, you can't win the lottery if you don't play it. And all I'm saying is I don't know if we need to go as far. We don't got to do what Cody said for Trevor Lawrence and say, let's trade the rest of our lives and our soul for it.
2 years.
But sometimes you got to take a goddamn swing. And I think, and I've been trying to say that I thought this was the case with JC Horn. I know. It's like, yes, you told me he's the greatest motherfucker ever. He is. He's great. He's a fucking all-pro before he's even played 5 games. But at the same time, maybe we're just too scared to take a risk on Justin Fields. Maybe just too scared. And JC Horn was the safer pick. And that's why I'm on Will Levis's joy. But can we get to some cat calls?